I've been using the Shokz OpenFit 2 Plus for a bit now. Editing, school runs, cycling, pretending to listen while my wife tells me all the important things I just need to remember. They've been my go-to open earbuds, but there were always two things that didn't quite crack: bass and noise. The moment life got properly loud, trains, traffic, kids, the sound just sort of gave up. So Shokz went back to the lab and came back with these, the OpenFit Pro. They're promising richer sound, proper open ear noise reduction, and a bunch of upgrades over the 2 Plus. In this video, I want to tell you my real world experience, how I went from being perfectly happy with my OpenFit 2 Plus to finding myself more often than not reaching for the OpenFit Pros instead. And by the end, I'll help you answer 3 really simple questions. If you already own the OpenFit 2 Plus, should you upgrade? Can these actually fit into your life rather than you having to fit around them? And has Shokz really created a new era for open ear listening, or is that just clever marketing? So if you're thinking about spending your hard-earned money on either of these, stick around because this could save you from buying the wrong pair. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, Maz here. Welcome back to MazTechCentral, where I make tech simple and accessible for all. Full transparency, Shokz sent me the OpenFit Pros early so I could actually compare them directly to the OpenFit 2 Plus. As always, Shokz actually encouraged me to be completely honest. They only provided the product, not what I'm going to say about it, just the way I like it. So let's rewind a bit, because to understand the pros, we have to start life on the OpenFit 2 Plus. When I first picked up the OpenFit 2 Plus, they solved 2 huge problems for me. First, comfort. That open ear design resting just outside the ear canal meant no pressure, no aches after long sessions, and nothing invasive in my ears. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that, right? I could happily wear them from morning to evening. Second, awareness. I could listen to podcasts, YouTube, music, and still hear what was going on around me. Doorbell, kids, that Google timer, and occasionally my wife asking if I'm actually listening. I didn't have to lie this time. I describe them as living in my own audio bubble, but with the windows open. For open ear, they sounded good. Podcasts and YouTubes were great. Casual music was fine. And for most everyday use, they did the job. But the moment life got properly noisy, that illusion broke. On a busy road, suddenly cars and buses are competing with your audio. On a loud train, you're cranking up the volume just to hear the dialogue. And at home, when the kids are having their daily, let's call it debate, your audio just gets drowned out. I kind of accepted that as the open ear compromise. You get comfort and awareness, but you sacrifice depth and bass and any real control over the outside world. And then Shokz came back and basically said, yeah, what if you didn't? Enter the OpenFit Pro. On paper, Shokz is treating this as their new open ear flagship device. The idea is simple. Take everything people liked about the OpenFit 2 Plus and fix the bits everybody quietly complained about. The first big change is the sound system. On the inside, Shokz has basically given the Pros a much bigger Marta engine than the OpenFit 2 Plus. They've basically reworked the driver so it can move more air more precisely, which in normal human language, for me and you, means clearer details, smoother treble, and bass that actually has a bit of weight to it, even though nothing is blocking your ear. In their own testing, Shokz says the Pros give you 50% more bass and around 87% lower distortion than the OpenFit 2 Plus. There's no way for me to test that to get those numbers, but in my terms, it basically means you get more oomph, my technical terms, without the sound falling apart when you turn it up. And if you like the nerdy bit, thanks to a new dual driver design that can cover a wide range of sound from the deeper sounds to the tiny high-end details. For me and you, in the real world, it actually means compared to the OpenFit 2 Plus, the OpenFit Pro just sounds fuller. The OpenFit 2 Plus already sounded good enough for me. They served the purpose of letting me hear any audio whilst leaving my ear canals open. But when I switched to the OpenFit Pro, there was this extra richness to the sound that I didn't realize I was missing. Music feels fuller, voices have a bit more body, and everything just sounds more satisfying without losing that open ear feel. It's one of those things where you think, yeah, this is fine. And then you hear the pros and go, Okay, this is what it can actually sound like. But the real headline, the bit that actually makes me think this actually might be a new era in noise reduction, the OpenFit Pros are Shokz's first open-ear headphones that actually tries to reduce the noise from your environment. With the OpenFit 2 Plus, the deal was simple. Great comfort, great awareness. But once the world got loud, your audio just had to battle it out. No real way to calm down the chaos. On the Pros, Shokz is doing something a bit smarter. There are a few microphones constantly listening to what's going on around you, plus one that's paying attention closer to your ear. The system then figures out what noise is likely to reach your ears and gently turns down that background noise, so your music or podcast doesn't have to shout over it. It's not trying to completely block you off from the outside world. It's mainly going after that constant background noise, not the important stuff. So things like the rumble of a train, background chatter in a coffee shop, basically all that constant background noise gets toned down nicely. But the sharper sounds like train announcements or someone talking close to you still come through. In real life, I get a clearer, calmer listening experience, but I'm still able to hear when my stop is called or when someone next to me says my name. It doesn't feel like you're cut off from the world, more like the world has just been turned down a notch. In everyday use, with the OpenFit 2 Plus, I always tended to increase the volume way up just to barely hear my music or podcast. With the Shokz OpenFit Pros, when I feel the need to reduce the noise around me but not totally cut me off, I just switch from open mode to noise reduction mode. There's a little beep to confirm it, and the best way I can describe it is the outside noise takes a back seat in your ears. It doesn't totally disappear, but it steps into the background. And whatever you're listening to, music, podcasts, audiobooks, come front and center. It's like when you're watching TV and you turn it down just enough so you can focus on what the person is saying next to you. Everything's still there, but the thing that you actually want to hear stands out a bit more. Honestly, before I tried it, I had pretty low expectations. I thought, if nothing's blocking my ear canal, how on earth is it going to reduce outside noise? But I was genuinely surprised by how good it is. Confession time, I've even caught myself looking for noisy places on purpose just to test them out properly. I'll be mid-journey somewhere, I'll stop for a second, turn on noise reduction, off, on again, just listening to how the background changes. If anyone's watching me, they'll probably think I've glitched or something. But it really does make a noticeable difference. The best part is, even when the outside noise takes that back seat, you're still switched on to what's happening around you. And if you want to let more or less of the world in, you can go into the app and tweak the noise reduction from reduced all the way up to enhanced, depending on where you are and what you're doing. Now, comfort. One of the reasons I enjoyed using the OpenFit 2 Plus over longer sessions was that I could just forget they were there. OpenFit Pros keep that same open ear Earhook design, but refines the materials and the fit. Shokz calls it Ultra Soft Silicone 2.0, which in normal language just means a softer, skin-friendly coating that actually is comfortable to wear for longer sessions. The open ear design still keeps your ears free from pressure, so you don't get that in-ear fatigue after a couple of hours. Shokz has also updated the ear hooks with a thin nickel titanium frame that flexes around your ear, so they sit snug without digging in and stay put even when you're moving. Compared to the OpenFit 2 Plus, the Pros just feel a bit more hugged, if that makes sense. I haven't had issues with comfort, even over longer editing sessions, and when I've had to run to catch a bus or train, they've stayed exactly where they should be without feeling of something pressing against your ears. So if you like the comfort of the 2 Plus, this feels more like a refinement over its predecessor. On the sound feature side, the Pros also get a few extras that OpenFit 2 Plus doesn't have. It's tuned to work nicely with Dolby Atmos with head tracking, so if you're watching films or shows that support it, you get more of a 3D feel to the sound, voices in front of you, effects around you, instead of everything just sitting in the middle of your head. In the Shokz app, you've got a proper EQ section with presets like standard, vocal, bass boost, which is what I use, and treble boost, plus 2 custom slots. So if you like more bass or prefer voices pushed forward for podcasts, you can actually dial that in. There's also some clever stuff going on to reduce sound leakage. Pros is designed to fire sound more directly towards your ears, which means less of your audio spilling out to the person next to you on the train, so you can safely listen to your guilty pleasure playlist without turning it into a public performance. Compared to the OpenFit 2 Plus, it's the same open-ear idea, but with more control, more ways to shape the sound, and less chance of everyone else hearing what you're listening to. So if you ever felt the 2 Plus was almost there, the OpenFit Pros is the one that finally plugs that gap. Calls next, because a lot of us use these more for work calls and voice notes. Shokz is using a multi-mic setup with some AI on top to work out what's your voice and what's just background noise. The aim is simple. Keep your voice clear and push everything else down. So when you're on a busy street or you've got traffic behind you or a bit of wind, it does a better job of keeping you sounding like you. Most of my testing has been calling my wife, and her exact words were, "They sound very, very clear." You really can't get a better green light than that, can you? Now on to the long-term stuff. Battery life, durability, and the smart features that quietly make your day easier. Battery-wise, you're looking at all-day use quite comfortably. With noise reduction off, Shokz rates the Pros for up to 12 hours on a single charge, and up to 50 hours including top-ups from the case. With noise reduction on, it's still solid, around 6 hours with noise reduction enabled. If you do manage to kill them, a quick 10-minute charge in the case gives you 4 hours of playback, which is perfect for those "I forgot to charge them and I'm leaving in 5-minute" moments. The case also supports wireless charging, so you can just drop it on a charging pad like a phone, instead of hunting for a cable. For everyday use, the earbuds are sweat and splash resistant, so workout, rain, and general British weather are fine, which is great for those of us in the UK, where you never quite know if it's going to rain. Yep, I think it's raining now. You just don't want to swim with them or run them under a tap. On the connectivity side, you've got Bluetooth 6.1, which provides a more stable connection. And through the app, you can connect 2 devices at once. So you can be listening to your music on your laptop, get a call on your phone, and the audio can switch over without having to dive into the Bluetooth menus. Put all that together, and it feels like the Pros is built around real everyday use. So where does this actually leave the OpenFit 2 Plus? If you zoom out and look at the whole picture, the upgrade from the OpenFit 2 Plus to the OpenFit Pros is pretty simple. With the Pros, you're getting better sound, better control over noise, and more of the little everyday features that make them better to live with. The sound has more depth and weight compared to the 2 Pluses, especially in the bass, without turning it into a muddy mess. The new open-ear noise reduction means your playlists stay clearer in busy places without you having to crank the volume to the max just to hear a podcast on the main road. On top of that, the mics for me have done a better job on focusing your voice and pushing background noise down. Battery life is actually still pretty strong. With quick top-ups, you've got wireless charging, wear detection, the ability to be connected to 2 devices, Dolby Atmos support with head tracking, and EQ controls in the app, so you can tune things to how you like them. For me, personally, I genuinely liked the OpenFit 2 Plus, but the Pros feel like the version they always wanted to make. The philosophy hasn't changed. Open ear design, super comfortable. You can still hear what's going on around you. What's changed is everything around that idea. The sound is more powerful and more refined. The noise reduction finally makes open ear work better in real world environments. And all the quality of life stuff, charging, sensors, app features, feels more complete. And that's my experience of going from the OpenFit 2 Plus to the OpenFit Pro. From "these do a good job" to "yep, I'm definitely not going back." If you've got questions I didn't cover, especially if you own the 2 Pluses and you might be on the fence about upgrading, drop them in the comments below and I'll try to answer as many as I can. Or do follow-ups once I've spent even more time with these. Check out the links in the description below if you want to learn more about these Shokz OpenFit Pros. If you want to order a pair, I've added a link for that too. And if you'd like to try these for yourself, there's also information down there on where you can actually hold these, try them on before taking the plunge and buying them for yourself in the UK. If you found this useful, a like definitely helps the channel. And I would definitely appreciate a sub to the channel too. And if you're new here and enjoy simple, no-nonsense tech, hang around, there's a lot more videos coming, or check out some of the ones I've done previously. I'm Maz, and this is MazTechCentral, where I like to keep tech simple and accessible for everyone. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.